This is what happens when Apple stops you but Jailbreak doesn't. This is my iPhone XR running on iOS 14, and this is quite literally the perfect jailbroken setup, Christmas edition. See, I got something there. Okay, so let's start with home screen. So, star of the show is Snowflake 2. So you get these snowflakes falling down, animations, pretty cool. And if you match it with a nice wallpaper like I did here, it looks really awesome. Also works on any wallpaper, like for example, on my lock screen. Like so. So yeah, there's that. There's another tweet that I'm using, which is Atria. So I get this good afternoon text. I also get this icon layout, so I want my icons to be easily reachable, so put them down here. On the top half, there's nothing, so, you know, it looks kind of nice. As for the icons, I'm using Solid Glass version 2.1. This is the latest version as of now, and it's got the latest icons, even the latest Apple TV icon, which looks pretty sick. And, you know, the dark mode variant looks pretty cool with this wallpaper. One more thing I want to mention about the home screen is the app library. So app library is pretty cool. I hated it at the first, I never used it, but now I'm just too used to it. I use it all the time. But one thing that I hate about it is that it takes a lot of swipes to reach, and I don't like that. So I'm using a tweak called Search Dots that lets me add that button. You can just add the search button from iOS 16 and later, but I also changed it to app library search. So whenever I need to go to app library, I just tap on it and boom. You still see a white line around the notch here, and that's my battery indicator. It's a really nice tweak. It pulses when charging, and you know, it changes color based on what mode you're using. So for example, if you're using low power mode, it changes to yellow. When it's charging, it's green, and normally it's white. And that is done by a tweak called Bazzy2. It's a great all-around tweak. I've been using it since 2023. It's a really nice tweak. So now another tweak that I'd like to show you guys is this. Look how sick this is. We got always on display. It looks pretty similar to stock one you get with the latest iPhones, and like, it looks pretty darn good. I used to have lots of lock screen tweaks. I used complications, also AIM tweak, but I just got bored of it because I've been using it for over 2 years at this point, so I just deleted it. So yeah, I'm using stock one, and it works really well with this tweak. Look. So after a few seconds of inactivity, it just goes down like this. It looks so cool. It just looks like an actual always on display. Now, you can turn it on by double tapping it, like so. Now, you might be asking, but this is an iPhone XR. It has an LCD display. How is this even possible? And, good question. So, look, this is an LCD display, yes. This always on display is not actually always on. So, whenever you lock the screen, it stays like this for about 30 seconds. So it just gives you a feeling like you got always on display. So it doesn't use much battery life at all. And it doesn't just turn off aggressively. It doesn't just let you know that you don't have always on display. It just fades slowly. Look, it's like this. And it fades away and turns off. That's pretty darn good. So you don't even notice when it's off. Still a really all around cool tweak. And that's last look. So if you want to get the always on display, get last look. It's pretty darn good. It's almost 2026 and iPhones still don't have built-in clipboard history. That is really not good. But with Copylog, which was actually paid but became free a couple months back, you can actually get that feature. So for example, I'm just going to copy a sample text right here, and I can just copy. You get this little notification that the clipboard was saved, which is pretty nice. It actually has a sound, but you can turn that off. I have it turned off because this is a perfect setup and I don't want to have a sound whenever I copy something. And I can just go ahead, swipe up, and paste it. It's still almost 2026 and iPhones still don't have split screen multitasking. That is unforgivable, Apple. Please bring it. Now, you might come at me like, yeah, just no one uses it, and like, yeah, you might not use it. But for people who actually use it on a daily basis, that's very important for them. So for example, I can say open the settings app, and let's say I want to, you know, do something at the same time. I don't know. I can actually do this, and boom. So we can open like what, and you can also scroll tweaks on Sileo at the same time. So did you notice that this is not a split screen? This is floating window style. So this is the Sileo page is actually floating right now, but you can go ahead, close it. You get this little icon, so you can drag it, put it on the bottom, and boom, you got split screen. So you can do one thing on the bottom and other on the top. Especially on Pro Max models, like if you got a jailbroken Pro Max iPhone, you can actually take full advantage of that huge display. This is not even that big, but yeah. What you can also do is just open the app on your home screen, just like the floating app. It's really that good. If you don't want it, you can just close it like so and open something else. For example, I don't know, let's say you want to buy random junk on the AliExpress. You can do that. Pretty awesome. I've also made my animations a lot more faster and bouncier. I actually took that inspiration from iOS 26, and that is done by a tweak called Speedster. So you can actually adjust app open speeds and bouncing. I really love that bouncing. Look at the settings icon when it bounces. That's pretty darn cool. Also got pop-out buttons. I've talked about this tweak a lot in the past, so it basically gives you that iOS 18 plus button animations. And the funny part is, even if I update this phone to the latest iOS 18, this thing didn't get iOS 26, I still won't get it. Or if you're on iPhone 11 and you update to iOS 18, you cannot go to iOS 18, but you can go to iOS 26, you still won't get this because of the LCD display. But with Jailbreak, it is here. I already talked about the icon pack that I'm using, which is solid glass, made by yours truly. But there are also lots of other icon packs that are cool. So to make use of those, you can just use snowboard and select themes. The liquid glass is pretty cool. I'll actually show it to you how it looks. I've already shown in my other videos, but you get that clear iOS 26 icons, but you know, doesn't go that well with this wallpaper, in my opinion. I also really like glyph icons, Pulsar. I've been using that for so long, and it's just pretty one of the best tweaks I've ever used. Pulsar is pretty cool. And as you can see, my icons have like that drop shadow. That's also done by Atria. Now, App Store++. It's a really nice tweak, and what I love about it is basically you can download older versions of apps. So let's say I want to download an older version of YouTube. I do not know why you would want that, but you know, let's say you want to download it. So you long press it, downgrade, and if you give it a bit, it's gonna load old versions and give you the list of every single available version of YouTube. It's pretty darn cool. Give it a second. And look, you got so many versions, you can download anything you want. So that's App Store++. And the ironic thing is that it's got the Google Play Store icon. 3D App Version Spoofer does a similar thing. So for example, whenever you use an app and it tells you to update, but your phone cannot update because you know you're not older version of iOS or something. Like, you know, let's say the app does work, but you get that alert that's saying that you need to update or else it just won't work. You can actually spoof your application version with this and lie to the app that you're running the latest version, and it will work just perfectly fine. So let's do a little demo of it. So for example, let's say I want to spoof the version of shortcuts. I can just long press it and spoof app version, and I can just type in my, you know, app version number. I can even spoof my iOS version. So EFM by PoomSmart is also like really cool. You can actually get Google emojis and Samsung emojis on this guy, and I actually got Google emojis. So you can see I got literal Google emojis on a freaking iPhone. Can your iPhone 17 do this? Nope, it cannot. I also use pin anim. So what this does is basically just adds the animation when you type in your passcode. So let me actually enable the passcode real quick. Okay, so when you type in your passcode, actually gives you that haptic feedback. Again, that haptic feedback was added in newest iOS versions, but on iOS 14 you don't got that. But on newest iOS versions, what you don't got is the animation when you put in your pin. Look at that jumping. So that's pretty subtle, but nice to have. And it just adds another touch of that perfectness for my perfect iPhone setup. So I also got XDual, but currently I'm not using it. It just adds that lock screen depth effect that you see on your iOS 16 and later devices. So there's that. I'm not using it currently, but when I do, it's pretty cool. This is one of the better ones. So Velvet is actually like a really nice tweak. I've actually got custom colored notifications. Eye cleaner, the classic. So it is pretty awesome, and you know, you can get customized border colors and stuff. So for example, on the lock screen, it looks pretty cool. So for example, as you can see, you got those blue outline for Facebook, red outline for YouTube. There's black outline because of the dark mode icon for the Photos app. It's just pretty cool to have all these kind of options because on the latest versions of iOS and latest iPhones, you just cannot do this, but on a 7-year-old iPhone, you can. Although there is one thing that I want to say is that if you get an iPhone 15 on iOS 17.0, exactly 17.0, you can actually get a semi-jailbreak, so a lot of these tweaks will actually work if you got that combination. But if you get anything newer, you're out of luck. One of the tweaks that I also love is CC26, so you get that sort of liquid glassy control center. You know, on iOS 14 it doesn't look that bad. You probably would not call this perfect, but you know, once in a while the difference is pretty cool. You can actually get like Circle CC or CC18, and you can, you know, get the rounded iOS 18 style control center. You can also get like CCXI, arrange these in like completely different order. It's pretty nice, but the way it is right now, I personally, you know, kind of enjoy it. I'll get bored of this in a day or two. I'll probably go back to the default one. The CC26 works really good on iOS 15 and 16, but on iOS 14 it's kind of, you know, not that well optimized. Yeah, that pretty much covers up the tweak section, but that's not all, okay? When you meet Christmas and New Year, you know, sometimes you freshen up your space. So that's what I do. You know, I want to start every year on the clean slate. So I clean up my working desk and everything. Also change cases. Right now I'm rocking it caseless, but you know, since it's New Year, it's winter, and it's, you know, snowing outside, I think I got a pretty good Christmas themed case. So this isn't very Christmas themed, okay? Isn't, but the white one, it looks like Snow White, bro. That is really cool. Let me get this out of the way. You would actually not believe how many cases I got, not only for this phone, but actually like for random other iPhones and other Samsung phones and stuff. Yeah, when I do a setup/collection tour, you know, I'll show it to you guys. But till then, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I'll see you in 2026.